Hi guys, I'm back. It's been a while. So I'm coming to you today from California, from lovely Northern California. I'm in Oakland. And today I just want to give you some thoughts from it's been over a month now since I've been in the States. It's been so I got here on the 13th, I think, of June. So, what was that, like 6 weeks? Today's July, what is today, the 29th? Anyway, it's been a while. And I've been to a lot of different places, spent a lot of time in different beds. And what I mean by that, let me be clear, is that I spent a few nights in Miami, then I was in Nashville, and Northern California, Southern California, so I've bounced around a lot, and I have not been in my own home, in my own bed for a while, and that can be stressful. The traveling is good, it's of course good to see friends and family and do some business and make connections and things like that, but, being out of your home and living on the road like this, can present some challenges, but overall I will say it's been really good, and I've got another month to go. We get back to the DR on August 31st, so more to go. But I wanted to check in and say hello, say thank you again to the new subscribers. I always like to say hello to people, and I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate your support. Those of you who make comments and send messages and ask questions, I really do like hearing from you, so thank you for that. So I'm wearing a little sun protection today, as you can see, because it's sunny, and coming from a sunny climate and being in a lot of sun, I'm trying to protect my skin. So what do you think? You like it? Okay, so let me just jump right in and tell you a couple of things I want to talk about. Mainly this video is about my observations being back in the United States after being gone for a year straight. We've lived away for a year and a half now, but we've been gone for about a year straight. And it's really interesting to come back and sort of reacclimate to the culture here, because it's very different. And I've gotten so many comments from people about my appearance, kind of my general demeanor, how I have changed, of course asking about my life, my lifestyle, how did I do it. Lots of people wish that they could do it as well. It's funny, I'll tell you really quickly before I left. If you look way back, you'll see videos where I was like, okay, I'm 2 weeks out and I'm sitting in my car talking about the different things in terms of planning and getting ready and how I'm a little bit nervous and all that. And I think some people back then were thinking, she's a little nutty to be doing this. Like, what's really the plan and how's she going to pull it off and all that. I wouldn't quite say that they were naysayers, but definitely some people who were like, I don't know. And now a lot of the same people are like, oh my gosh, girl, you're living the dream and you're living your best life and all this kind of stuff. And so to those of you who are thinking about doing anything significant, whether it's moving or starting a business or changing yourself in some way, do it. Do it. If you feel inside of you that it's something that's pulling you, do it. Even if you don't really know how, take one step, right? Take a step in that direction. And then, look online, look whatever, talk to people, do some research, find evidence of that kind of life can exist. Whether it's, as I always say, like losing weight or doing something that seems like a stretch for you. Someone else has done it, pretty much, right? So feel inspired and do it. All right, so I want to tell you, though, my very, very first observation, I think I mentioned this in perhaps my Nashville video. One of the first things I realized when I got home is that it's so incredibly expensive in this country. I had complete sticker shock. And, I guess I hadn't forgotten entirely what it's been like to live here, but it seems like it's even more expensive now. Maybe because, I don't know why, I feel like it's mainly corporate greed, because I know things don't need to cost as much as they cost. Right, like your cell phone bill doesn't need to be $200 a month, when my cell phone bill is like $60 with all the bells and whistles, and that's cell phone and internet, by the way. It's the same service. In fact, mine might be more detailed because I'm farther away. I don't know, but things like that. Just seems like the U.S. is just taking so much advantage of people by charging so much money for everything. You go out and have a meal, and it's easily $50 and up just for something basic. So I do not miss that. Frankly, there's really not much that I miss here. I had, like some Thai food, some Mexican food, some good stuff like that I don't get really where I am. But I don't really miss anything. I really don't. I do not miss the constant beating over the head and conversations about racism and this problem and white people are like this and black people are like that and Trump this and Trump and all that political noise. I ugh, I'm so happy to be away from that. I feel like that just adds weight to us, physical weight, psychological weight. It's just a stress. And so that's another observation I have, is that people here seem to be very, very stressed out. They look unhealthy for the most part, whether it's physically, like maybe carrying a lot of weight, or looking like tired in their faces, like they have circles under their eyes, or they just look worn out. Now, mind you, I mean, I don't know if you can see, but I look tired too sometimes, because I am. But it's different. It's not like my life is beating me down. And I get that feeling here that people's lives are just wearing them out, that it's just so hard to make ends meet and to keep up and to have a smile on your face most days, because it's just hard living. I get the feeling that a lot of people are having a hard time. And I have some friends here who have a lot of money. By most people's standards, they're doing very well. And, whether it's both people working, both, like the man and the woman, or whatever, some cases two women or what have you, or just one person, people seem stressed out. And pretty much, I think without exception, and I've talked to a lot of friends since I've been home, everybody is at least contemplating how to get out, where to go, how it could happen, if it's really something that they could pull off, what to do with their kids, if their kids are in school, like how that would work. I stopped by a friend's yesterday and met a woman there, and she was talking about that she and her husband really like Mexico, and they would love to do like 6 months here, 6 months there, but they're worried about their daughter in school, and is it possible, and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I think your daughter would be fine. She'll have friends there, friends here, and the cultural experience is like no other. I mean, it's going to just open her up. But I mean, everybody that I've talked to says, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? I wish I could. Again, the lifestyle I have is not for everyone. So it's not a matter of that, okay, everyone needs to figure out a plan. But I really do see like people are looking for a way to drastically change their lives here. And so let me offer you some inspiration if I can. So I made a few notes so I don't forget. As I mentioned, people look unhealthy. A lot of people look really overweight here. I think I mentioned before, the food here, I feel like in general is really bad. And unless you are, you have the means to shop at like really specialty grocery stores, you're getting the finest, cuts of meat or whatever it is, if you eat meat, or whatever it is, like the best quality food, which is very expensive, you're probably eating food that's not very good for you. And stuff that's been injected with hormones or treated in some way with something that's not natural. And that affects us all. I've gained some weight since I've been home. And, granted, I'm not living my normal lifestyle. Like, I'm not exercising as much as I did, or as much as I do when I'm away. Obviously, my eating habits have changed. I've done a lot of like, oh, let's go out and meet and have drinks and, that kind of social thing, because I'm passing through and everyone wants to hang out. I'm doing a lot of that. But I just feel like, I'm eating differently. Lots more junk available to eat, like all over the place. And I'm indulging, and so it's been fun, but I'm also like, okay, when I get back, I'm getting back on my program. So I will say this for those of you who are contemplating some type of a move like this, or may not be a big move. Let me see if the shade is better in terms of the lighting. That's so much better, huh? Now I can sit down and chill. Okay. Whatever type of change you may be contemplating, I would say the bottom line really is that happiness is the key. Your happiness is absolutely the key that's going to shift things for you and cause you to look more vibrant and have maybe like a lighter personality, or maybe lose weight, whatever it is. And I feel when people ask me really like what is it for you that has made this change, I tell them invariably, I have little to no stress, and I'm happy. I'm really happy. I'm living my life, and it's not that I'm doing anything extraordinary. It's not that I'm not laying on the beach every day. It's like wherever you live, if you live near some monument or some special landmark, you're not going there all the time. I live in California. I'm not at the beach all the time here. But it's just not so hard to have a comfortable life. I don't have to worry so much about how am I going to, this bill, then the next bill, then the next bill. I was always worried about that here. Like, how do I, as soon as you cover one thing, then here comes the next one bearing down on you. And it just never, ever ends. And that's stressful. And so then you sleep poor. Like me, I, would wake up in the middle of the night, like having worry about what about this, what about that. And it wasn't always consciously, but that was happening. Just a lot of stress. Man, you take stress off the plate, it's a game changer. So I would say, again, happiness is the key. So what do you do in the meantime? Find ways to be happy right now, whatever that is for you. I have a friend here who told me recently, what did she say? She put it like, oh, in my mind, I'm retired. And she said she told some friends that, and they were like, what are you talking about? That sounds crazy. And I was like, actually, to me, I think that sounds beautiful. I think that's the smartest thing you could do, is begin to act as though you have the availability of time, the leisure of maybe extra cash or whatever to do what you want to do. And it may mean, just like, for example, she has the luxury of not having to go into her office every single day. She could take, maybe a day a week, maybe two, I don't know, where she can stay home. Maybe she's in her pajamas all day, but it makes her feel good just to have the time and the space to have some mental clarity. And it's not always about having so much cash to spend, but just a little bit of freedom, a little bit of liberty to do what you want to do. I can't stress that enough, to feel like you have some control over your own life, over making decisions that just make you feel good. Not even about, I want a new car. I mean, maybe you do, but just being able to feel like, okay, for this hour or this day, I'm just going to do what feels good to me. And maybe it is lay in the bed all day. Maybe it's go take a walk. For me, I realized that physical activity, walking in nature, things like that, really, really shift the way I feel about things. I did a walk this morning with a friend, and it was great because, we just got to walk and talk in nature, and I'm hearing some of what's going on with him. And, it's just a nice way to connect with people or with yourself without having to spend money, without having to do anything extraordinary. I don't have to leave town or buy a plane ticket. For me, that works. So find out what works for you, what can add to your happiness, what can create a space for you to feel happy. And I've said this before, you want to identify what that means for you. What does it mean to be happy for you? Excuse me, my ear. It's like itching in there. What does happiness look like for you? It's different for all of us. Some people want to be able to have, days free or travel. Some people, want to have time maybe to go volunteer. Some people, I don't know, want to work in their little workshop and build stuff. I don't know. Some people want to cultivate a garden. I mean, it can be whatever you want for it to be. It doesn't really matter. It's just that you need to know what that is. You want to start a nonprofit and serve in some way and help people. If that makes you feel good, that's great. But identify whatever it is. And it may be more than one thing. Often there are things, someone likes to ski and play the piano and cook. Great. Okay, so then figure out how you can fit those things into your life on a regular basis. For me, I knew, like I've known for practically all of my life, that I wanted to live in a foreign country, it felt thrilling to me, and it felt like it was an escape from just that routine, the monotony of 9 to 5 and checking in every day. I knew, since I was a kid, that was going to be the death of me. If I had to just show up in an office every day and work like that doesn't work. So yeah, freedom for me creates a lot of happiness. It leaves room for me to then feel what's happy for me. I discovered dancing makes me feel really happy. It feels great to dance. 1, because I love the music. 2, because I get to move my body. It's kind of sexy. I feel sexy when I dance. I like to be able to go out and be able to dance. I was in Cuba a few years ago and was mortified because everyone expected, because they think I'm Cuban or some kind of Latina when I travel. And so of course you can dance. If you're Latina from almost any country, music and dance are part of the culture. And so you're like a social misfit if you can't dance. And I really couldn't, not like that. I mean, I can dance, I have rhythm, but I could not dance salsa or bachata when I first started. And now, I can hold my own a little bit. I'm not great, I'm not like they are, but I can manage. So find out what makes you happy, and then take some steps every day to do what you can do to get you there. Someone said to me recently, do something every day that moves you 1% closer to whatever goal it is you have. So if you want to be able, if you love to cook, you want to be a chef every day. Maybe it's not cooking something every day. Maybe it's finding a recipe. Maybe it's finding the place in your town where you can get that delicious, fresh something ingredient, or you visit a store that has something that you love, or, I don't know, you find another person who you can talk to about recipes. It could be anything, but find something that's going to turn you on in some way. Okay, so identify what makes you feel good. Then, pardon me, I would say you want to get into the receiving mode. You want to start putting yourself in a position, in like an energetic frequency, since we're always talking about vibration these days, where you start getting what you want. And so, ladies, that means like exercise your feminine energy. Well, what does that mean? That means get sexy, right? For me, that means like start feeling sexy. And that could be like by the way you dress, by the way you move. Again, for me, dance helps a lot with that. Maybe it means that you're kind of coquettish and flirtatious when you go out, and so that you get a certain kind of attention. And, and I don't mean like overly, being sexual with men all the time. I don't mean like that. I just mean being open, kind of flirtatious and friendly, and have conversations with people, and, start up, say hi to someone, or if someone gives you a compliment, you receive it, whether you're male or female. If someone says, hey, I really like your dress, or hey, I like your hat, or hey, whatever, thank you very much. Oh, I got this, and like have a fun conversation. It doesn't have to lead to anything at all, but be receptive to that. If someone is giving you a nice compliment or is just being friendly to you, be friendly back, be open. And so that's what I mean by get into the receiving mode. Be in places, put yourself out there. If you're sitting in your house all the time and you're feeling depressed, well, get out. Go somewhere, go to a farmer's market and just kind of stroll around. You don't have to buy a thing, but you can just stroll around. You can like look at different things and start up little conversations with people who are there and receive the energy that people are offering. A lot of times, especially during the summer and warmer climates or warmer months, people are out and about and they're just feeling good. You go to the beach to say hi to your neighbor, or maybe you pack a lunch and you're at the park and you offer someone, hey, I have some extra cantaloupe, some extra watermelon. You guys want to have this? Or, what I'm saying? It could be anything, but just start to put yourself in a position where you can begin to receive whatever good there is, right? Maybe someone says, oh, go ahead in front of me in line. Little bitty things like that may seem like nothing, but really, it starts to just shift how you interact with the world, and receiving is a huge part of getting to where you want to be. I think as women sometimes we're so used to giving and nurturing and taking care of people and taking care of the house and making sure everything's in order. Even at the office, you might support someone at your office, and so you're always making sure that person is covered. And so at the end of the day, or if you're a mom, you're like exhausted because you've made meals for the kids or whatever you have to do, cleaning up, that kind of stuff. Take some time for yourself. Ask, hey, can you make me a cup of tea today? Or whatever it is, but just start to notice, at least initially, start to notice how much you're doing and giving, as opposed to just being still and receiving. If someone offers you something, as I said, whether it's like to go first in line or smiles at you or, strikes up a conversation, just be open to that. Be receptive to that and let that begin to shift how you interact with the world around you. Okay, that's my number 2 for you. This is tips today, people. This is tips. Helping you out. Real quickly on the reception thing, one more thing. So I mentioned ladies in terms of like your feminine and your body, and like, maybe you put on some music at home, you just begin to like move your body and sway and like open up that flow, right? As women, we have a special, beautiful flow that we can use to create magic sometimes. And so do that. Men are often doers, but in a different way, right? Like they're problem solvers and they're like fixing things and that kind of stuff. That's great. But also men, if you have the opportunity, if someone says, hey, let me help you with that. If you're at the grocery store, maybe someone doesn't expect that a man's going to want help out to the car. But if the checker boy, whatever, says, hey, would you like a hand? Yes. Say, yes, thank you. I'd appreciate that. Even if you're a big, strong man, doesn't make you any less big, any less strong. It just means that you're opening yourself up to receive. Okay, so I'll leave that there. Same thing with compliments, man. If someone says, wow, you're a really handsome man, or oh, I love your shoes, or whatever, you have a great haircut. Thank you, I appreciate that. It's nice to hear that, Men need to hear some stuff too sometimes, ladies. Compliment your men, or someone else may. Okay, so next is begin to dream, right? What do you want? Okay, so we talked about happiness, but I guess the bigger picture is, so you feel happy, what is it that you want? you want to change your life in some way, will be really specific. And I would say I love to write things down. I feel like writing things down really clarifies your mind about, how you want to get there, and well, maybe not how you want to get there, but what it is that you want. Maybe even sometimes why, because when we start writing, we often find out that maybe we're not that clear, or you want it, but maybe it's like Revenge Body, right? Khloe Kardashian show. Why do you want to have the hot body? Because you just want to wear some cute clothes? Or is it because you have a grudge and you want to, sort of pay somebody back, like, see how I look now? I'm not saying that's a bad reason. That's fine if it motivates you, but you don't want to. Hopefully, there's a component that's in there for you, right? But if whatever it is to get you started toward the thing that you want, do it. I feel like just do it. As long as you're not harming yourself or harming anyone else in the process, of course, right? Oh, and so in terms of your dream, look for evidence of whatever it is that you want. So maybe you look at a magazine, you want a new beautiful house, and so look at, House Beautiful or Architectural Digest or whatever magazine. Look online, Google up, beautiful homes by the beach, beautiful mountain cabin, whatever it is that turns you on. Look for those things. Look for evidence that shows you, here, what I want exists. It is possible. Maybe it's just that you want a new kitchen, or you want to, you have this beautiful new sofa that you want. You're not quite sure, but something like that. Go online, look for those types of things. If you want to travel, HGTV has all kinds of travel shows, or you can go online and Google all kinds of travel destinations, or budget travel, whatever it may be. But begin to look actively for, as I say, evidence that what you want exists. Maybe there's people who are living some aspect of the life that you want. Talk to those people, ask them how they did it, right? I'm here as a resource. People talk to me all the time. As I said, I need to create, I'll say this, I haven't wanted to say too much about it until I got things ready, and I'm not ready yet. But I'm going to create some content, and I'm going to offer it to those of you who really want to take some solid, specific steps. I'm offering you some tips now, but I have some very solid, like a process of things that will help you get to where you want to be. And in a while, probably not this summer, because I just have too many moving parts right now. As I said, I'm moving from place to place still. But I think once I get settled back at home, I will have, my space again. I can set up the way that I do at home and begin to offer you, those of you who are interested, some guidance on that. So in terms of finding people who are doing the things that you want to do, connect with folks. Maybe there's a job that you want, and there's someone, at your office or someplace else that has that job. Call them up or go by and say, hey, listen, I really admire you. I think you're doing an amazing job, and I aspire one day to have this position, or to do something like this, or to open my own business, whatever it is. You've heard this before, right? Can we go for coffee for just 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that? I'd love to just ask you a few questions about, how you started, and what were some of your challenges, and how did you overcome them, and things like that. But look for evidence that what you want, the life that you choose to live, exists. I still feel like the color's off. It's just from the sunlight. Even though I'm in the shade right now, it's from the sunlight. Oh, I keep saying write. Write down your vision. I feel like writing just makes everything so clear. And it also, something about writing, Serena Williams has talked about it. Lots and lots of people have talked about writing, how it begins to it's like the flow, like turning on a faucet. When you write, it's like taking things from your brain, from like the ether, from nothing, into a physical form, right? Even though you may not have the car, poof, as soon as you write down, I want a new car, or I want a different body, or I want a man or a woman in my life, what have you, there is something concrete now on paper. There's a physical manifestation of what you have decided that you want. And so from that physical manifestation, you can go to another one, right? And again, there's processes for that. But initially, you want to write it down. And then I would say, once you have it written, read over it. Read it every day. Put a sign on your mirror, put a thing in your car, tape something to the dashboard, put it on your refrigerator, whatever it is. And I would say initially, speak it out loud. But even if you're not every day saying, I'm now in my perfect job or something, even if it's just there and you're not speaking it out loud, you're going to see it. And that's going to seep into your subconscious. And then It just has a way of bringing things about. I do that a lot, and I love the results I've gotten, so check that out. And then dwell on what it is that you have stated. Dwell on what it is that you want. You want to, again, live in some dream destination, or you want to start that business, you want to, whatever, have a new car, a relationship, you want to run a marathon, I don't know. Keep on imagining that. Let that be your topic of conversation on a regular basis, even if it's just with yourself. Even if you don't want to tell anybody right now, that's fine. But when you are keeping your own company, imagine that. It's okay to talk out loud. If you want to, describe, oh my gosh, my new bedroom has this beautiful bay window and it looks out over this lovely garden, and I can sit there. I have the time every day to read my books or to write the book I've always wanted to write. Whatever it is, begin to really dwell on the feeling that you'll have when you get that new house, when you have the job, when you take the trip, whatever it is, and just imagine the sun on my skin feels so good. I've been wanting to taste this kind of fruit for so long, and now it's here. It's fresh every day. I love the way it feels when he hugs me, just the touch, and maybe you hug yourself and imagine that it's your dream person. Whatever it is, you gotta start inhabiting those experiences. What I mean by that is act as if it's already happening to you, right? You've heard this before too. Act as if it's really very true. Wrap this up shortly. Oh, I love this part. Playing games. I gave this example before where you play what if, right? What if right now you had your dream job? What if you lived in your dream destination? What if you had your dream partner with you? What would that be like? What would that feel like when you woke up in the morning? What would you do? Would you roll over and smile? Would you get up and feel really inspired? Yay, I'm gonna write another chapter today of my book. Or, I'm gonna take a walk and then come home and play the piano for an hour. Whatever it is how's that? Is that better? Get yourself a cameraman one day. What would it be like when I actually had a real video set up? Wow, then I could use my hands and give you more background and everything. Won't that be amazing? I'll dwell on that for a while. But yeah, really begin to inhabit that mental space and see what that feels like, and just get excited about it. Because here's the thing, even if it still takes a while, you're gonna feel so good in the process of being excited, right? It feels good to be, that's again the happiness. It feels good to be happy. It feels good to be excited about possibilities. And so even if your day, that actual day, doesn't change in terms of, okay, yeah, I still had to go to work, I still had to cook dinner, whatever, you can create moments for yourself where you're escaping in your own imagination, and that feels so good. It feels so, that's what I did. That's how I got to where I was living. I had no idea how it was going to happen. I had no idea about the people I would meet. I had no idea about how I would make the money that I make. But I envisioned all of those things. I wrote out, I want to meet people. I want to have this kind of person in my life. I want to, do this kind of work where I can have lots of freedom and still make the money. Every single thing that's happening, I envisioned, and I wrote about it, and I imagined what it would feel like. And I still do. I mean, I have some of those things that I've wanted. And now it's okay, fine tuning. I want a little bit more of this, not quite that. Turn left a little bit instead of right. You get it. Oh, and my last thing before I get off is that stop. Oh my God. Okay, so one of the things I notice about being in the U.S. is that, like I said, all this constant talk about racism and Trump did this latest crazy thing. Okay, listen, in case you're not clear yet, Trump's going to keep doing crazy things. So what? So what? And I don't mean I'm insensitive to the plight of everyone, basically, that he's offending or impacting in some negative way. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that if you constantly dwell on that and look at those news stories and talk about that with your friends and are disgusted all day long and oh my God, and it puts you in a bad space, that is ruining your chances of advancing in the way that you want to. At the very least, it's going to slow you down. If you are spending lots and lots of time talking about this bad thing or the other bad thing, or how that white person did this, or those black people, or those whoever, pick a type of person, women, men, fat, skinny, those parents, I don't know. But if you're spending all your time being upset about some injustice or what have you. It doesn't mean that you don't work to change something in some way. It doesn't mean that you don't serve your community and try to make it better. It doesn't mean that you completely disengage. You can be engaged and you can offer help without turning sour yourself, because a sour person does no good to anybody, right? The happier you can be and the more aligned with your purpose and what makes you feel good in your world, in your life, that's the better it's going to be for yourself and for the whole world. Because happy attracts happy attracts happy, just like grouchy and funky and disgruntled attracts all of those same things. And unless you want to continue to have those type of conversations and feel like shit every day because of the latest awful thing that happened, the latest shooting, the latest, corporate abuse, I just don't even want to hear about that, honestly. I don't have those conversations anymore. I don't want to hear about, how racist this country is. Have we not made that clear? I mean, okay, and so what I can do better is just live in a happy space. Live my life in a way that I'm happy, and I don't have to really focus on that. Does that mean I'm oblivious? I'm going to, not prepare my son in certain ways? No, but I mean, I refuse to just be upset constantly. So, as I said, dwell on what makes you feel good. Spend your time figuring out, what's my first step to, like I said, being a chef if you want to be a chef, or playing the piano, or whatever it is. Go look at keyboards. Go listen to some music. Go see a live show. Something. Spend your time being happy, people, okay? That's my message for today. I love you. Isn't this beautiful? That's what I'm talking about. My friend this morning, too, was like, yeah, Kelly,